Hello, everyone. A slightly different setup for this YouTube video. Slightly different topic as well, art related. I don't know why I'm speaking in broken sentences, but I have been going through something new with my art, and this is something that I think is really valuable to talk about on this channel. I've had this YouTube channel for 5 years now, and it's been such a beautiful way to teach something that I'm very passionate about, watercolor and art in general. And over the last few months, I have been, on a personal note, just experiencing some things that have created some really big shifts in my life, and also what I'm passionate about and what I want to pursue. And art isn't going anywhere. This YouTube channel isn't going anywhere. My Patreon isn't going anywhere. But I'm currently in this season with my art where I feel this call to write a children's book. It's something that has just synchronistically popped up for, a lot of different things that have come up in the past few months with my son Miles, who's currently 5 years old, and all the things that he's been experiencing, and then also just tying in with my story and my inner child healing work that I've been doing, and all of that just on the side as a personal endeavor. And so because this is something that I'm really passionate about, it's something that I want to pour my heart and my soul into and release into the world soon. I thought I would be valuable to take you along the process. There's going to be a lot of showing my artistic process for developing characters, developing the storyline and the scenes and the world of this children's book, and also how I'm going to communicate these themes and these topics of helping children become more in tune with their emotional self and their emotional life, and then also learning how to communicate those emotions. This is something that is, again, very, very near and dear to my heart. If you follow me on Instagram, or you know me IRL, in real life, then you know I have a background in psychology. I've always been really fascinated by how human beings work, like what is going on in our psyche, how we communicate, and just have always been studying human behavior, just kind of on accident, but as a survival mechanism in my own childhood of studying people's behavior and becoming a really perceptive kid from the beginning. So anyway, it combines a lot of my own unique passions and abilities. Obviously, art and storytelling is also a part of my history as well, because of being a musician, being in bands, writing songs since I was a child. And so obviously writing children's stories isn't necessarily songwriting, but there's a lot of similarities. And so I wanted to take you along that process, because that is something that is an overarching theme that I have on this channel, that I've been teaching over the past 5 years on this YouTube channel, but then even more in my in-person workshops, in my online courses and things like that, especially the Art Within, my online course that teaches you how to develop your style. And so I think it could be really valuable. And then also I'm just kind of wrestling as a content creator with the, there's just so much out there. There's so much saturation in the art, especially art tutorials on YouTube. There's so much saturation. And I want to continue to provide you guys with value. And I've been feeling really stuck with how to do that with, the repeated watercolor tutorials over and over again. I feel like I've done that quite a bit. And I'm ready to broaden and deepen the impact of these art tutorials and how to bring creativity to everyone and make it accessible. And so with all of that said, over these next few months, I'm going to be taking you along the process every Saturday morning. I'm going to be taking you along the process of writing my children's book. I'm not talking about the title or the story just yet. The story is written. All of the words are written, and it's something that I'm extremely proud of and really excited about. And something that I've just learned over the last 13 years of being a business owner, specifically a creative business owner, is a creative business owner with ADHD specifically, is the more I can focus on just one thing and literally pour my heart and my soul and everything, all of my talents, all of my abilities, all of my attention, my focus into one thing, the more of an impact that it can create. And I really do believe that this story, whether one person reads it, whether it's just my child who reads it, or it's, more children that read it and more parents that read it, I know that this story is really important and really valuable. And it's something that corresponds, like I said, to our own personal life with recent things that have happened with my son Miles. And I'm not going to get into details and personal details, but yeah, I'm just going to take you along the process and show you what it's like to go through the really difficult refining process of finding your world and your style and tweaking it and making mistakes, and how I develop characters and how I'm developing the style for this book. And so I wanted to show you just really briefly what I've already been working on. I will give you the main character's name, but I'm not going to talk about the story just yet. Just know that it's a book that's going to help kids learn how to communicate their big emotions, like how to say no, what to do with worry, stuff like that. So anyway, this whole thing started as a little character named Clarence. Here he is. Here's Clarence. That my son Miles and I created together. He started as a box with eyeballs, like a rectangle with eyeballs that Miles drew, and then he just kind of morphed into this gumdrop looking character with really simple line work. I did this with a Micron pen and kept it really simple, and loved how simple the illustration was. And then I just kind of started playing with and manipulating all of the different types of characters that I could come up with this. Miles did this one and this one. So cute. Just all the different versions of Clarence that I could come up with. And because I became obsessed with doodling this gumdrop character so much, he's taken on many different shapes and forms. Hi, I'm Clarence. And I just love the name Clarence. I think it's just so cute and very whimsical feeling. And Miles did this face on this one. So anyway, he's taken on a lot of different forms. And so in the early stages, I was just getting to know the character of Clarence, just getting to know how I could show him when he's sad, two Clarences hugging together, what he looks like if he's celebrating something, or if he's worried or surprised, if he's tired, what he looks like in his many different shapes and forms. And then from there, the light bulb turned on for me, and I decided that helping parents and children become more in touch with their emotions and learning how to communicate them was something that Clarence could help me communicate. So anyway, he's taken on a few different shapes and forms. And so then I started exploring what Clarence's world would even look like. So I actually started doing, and I'm not going to show the title just yet, but I started doing thumbnail exercises, which is something that I talk about all the time, especially in my course, The Art Within. We talk about thumbnail exercises for composition. So thumbnail exercises are really, really like this one, where there's this tree, there's a crow in the story that I'll show you in a second what his character looks like, but there's a crow talking to Clarence in the story, and I'm not going to give any more details than that. But so anyway, doing layout and thumbnail exercises helps me just manipulate in a very easy, quick way what I want the world to look like. And each scene that will have obviously the story going along with it, or the words going along with it, is going to incorporate a whole world of color and a whole world of just like whimsical exploration for kids to just get wrapped up in. I'm very excited to get lost in that. So anyways, thumbnail exercises, thumbnail sketches. I have been repeating thumbnails over and over and over and over and over again, and then using colored pencil as my main exploration or research tool. I know that the book is going to be in watercolor. I want it to be in watercolor, but I wanted to, because I can take colored pencils with me anywhere, and I can, be at the kitchen table with Miles and sketching really quick, and I don't have to put out all of these paint supplies and jars of water and all this stuff. I wanted to explore it a little bit more tangibly and have more accessibility anywhere, wherever I was. And so I've just been taking around my Moleskine journal and some colored pencils in a little pencil pouch and exploring this at coffee shops, exploring this, at the kitchen table with Miles, and just seeing what comes through and what I want the tree to feel like. I want the tree to be a eucalyptus tree because there's a eucalyptus tree right outside our front yard that is really beautiful to me and has always been really special to me since we bought this house. And just exploring what the crow looks like and developing the character of the crow has taken on kind of a similar approach that I did with Clarence. The first couple times that I did the crow in watercolor, like this one, absolutely sucked, and I was not into it. But with repetition, we came to a guy that we're liking a lot better. I love how whimsical this guy is and how big his eyeball is. I put some salt on the black watercolor and it created this cauliflower effect that I love. I don't like this little tuft of hair, but I know that I can clean that up in post when I'm in Photoshop or whatever, just kind of take that out. But I love the wobbly legs. I love the wonkiness of this character and the whimsicality, if that's even a word, of this crow, and just how fun and playful he is. And so there's going to be a lot of color. There's going to be a lot of richness. There's going to be a lot of juicy explosions of watercolor. And I'm currently in the stage of developing what I want the text and the fonts to look like, and still exploring this tree. I don't know why, but these colors, the orangey, peachy reds for the trunk and then the turquoises for the leaves, are really speaking to me. And this is one of the lines that the crow says in the book. I'll share you that one, I guess, with you. Remember, kid, feelings can fly. And he says it as he's flapping off into the unknown. I love this crow, but I think for the playfulness that I want to get across with the story and being more playful or more confident with our emotions, not playful, but confident with our emotions, I kind of want to give this more whimsical feel. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Do you have a preference? I love the scribbly nature of colored pencils. It feels very childlike to me as well. But because my look is so watercolor, I have definitely been toying with the idea of maybe combining the two mediums with colored pencil and watercolor and finding some sort of happy medium there where I can communicate the scribbliness, the childlike coloring effect with watercolor. So that's kind of the stage that I'm in with this process, is just discovering the world that I'm creating. And it's incredibly fun, but there are a lot of mistakes being made. There's a lot of stuff ending up in the trash, and also, side note, art that ends up in the trash is not, something that is completely null or void or empty of any sort of lesson. This is for example, this crow. This is where it becomes really important, or I guess a teaching lesson on the artistic process, is learning how to observe your own work or notice the details in your own work and how to refine them, or where to refine them and elevate them. So for example, this was the first crow that I painted. And first of all, his shape feels too like finch or like a smaller bird. It feels not like a crow at all. And I'm not necessarily saying that this is the exact replica of the crow body at all. And that's not the point. I don't want it to be super on the nose crow, but I do want people to look at it and think, oh, that's a crow. It will say it also in the story, the crow said blah, blah, blah. So they will know it's a crow. But this to me just feels like a finch or some other, I'm not a birdologist, so I don't know my bird names. But it's not crow vibes. It's also a little too wide and short, and the legs are really off. And this feels a lot more whimsical, but taller and skinnier. Like I want the crow to feel tall and skinny, like most crows. And also I love this eyeball on this one. I love the big, crazy looking eyeball with the salt, and also these kind of scrawny legs just really speak to me for whatever reason. I want it to feel unique. I want it to feel playful. I want it to feel like the child reading the book could come up with the world themselves, but it's just a more expansive version. And so anyway, we're still playing with the characters. I'm still developing the characters, and my next phase is basically repeating over and over again all of the different poses that I can do with this crow, or that I will anticipate for the story, and refining each one. That's probably going to mean 50 to 100 different versions of this crow till I get it really down and really refined. And so as an artist, you know, following tutorials on YouTube, hello, while you're on this channel, a lot of times, and I've said this before on my channel, I say this a lot inside my course, The Art Within, but a lot of times tutorials can keep us stuck in this I have to perfect it in one go mentality. And that's just not what the normal or the average artistic process is. And we put ourselves under a lot of pressure when we're following these tutorials, and there's nothing wrong with following tutorials. Obviously, that's why I've been teaching tutorials for so long, but it can be really intimidating. Like we have to get it right the first time, or you know, it can be frustrating when we don't get it right the first time. And so the artistic process really doesn't look like that. When I'm trying to learn something new or add something to my style, or when I was first learning, you know, floral watercolor or something like that, I was at my desk painting the same flower or leaves, for example, over and over and over again, but not just for the sake of painting it, for my hand to get better, but also to train my eyes to look for techniques or shapes or composition or whatever, areas of my composition or color theory that I maybe could refine or elevate or tweak a little bit in order to improve the overall leaf, the flower, the whatever. And so, for example, in my process with this whole Clarence book, I've, you know, gotten a lot of good ideas down on colored pencil, but now I'm trying to translate them into watercolor because I know I want to use watercolor as my medium for the book. And my first few goes at the trees are not it. They're just not it. They're not it. Like, you guys have seen me paint trees before, but I'm trying to bridge some sort of like unique perspective, and it's just a different way of painting when you're painting for a story than just like painting a tree for a tutorial. So anyway, I, you know, started playing around with the salt and with these thin, skinny, wet on wet details for the branches and things like that. This background is just a no. But you know, like the stuff like this is happening. I don't love that there's like a ton of green over there and there's no definition. I could go back in with darker green and add and pull out individual leaves, but this just wasn't feeling right to me. I wanted it to feel less on the nose tree and more unique and whimsical. And so you know, there's this moment in the story when Clarence is looking up at the tree for the first time because the crow speaks to him and he's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? That's not literally what he says, but you get the point. And so I wanted to show, you know, a looking up at the tree, and this is just like the sketch quick version of it in watercolor to get ideas down. But I know that this is not the end. This is not the final tree, the final version of this tree. And so just like being okay with the not so good art in order to extract what you're really looking for, because you can't really find what you're looking for up here. You have to put it down. Like you can only get so far with your imagination and with visualizing. And then, you know, sketching is really helpful. Like those thumbnail sketches are really helpful because it feels less intimidating when you're just like sketching a little rectangle. But even this tree, it felt to, obviously this was done very quickly. There's no definition. There's no like contrast and all that kind of stuff. But I still wanted it to feel more unique, more playful, etc. So I started playing with the idea of doing a blue, like a cornflower blue trunk with colored pencil. This still isn't it, but it's in a better direction in my opinion. I think, it's closer, but it's definitely not it. And we've got some shadow work down here, but it's giving ocean, and we don't want there to be a tree in the middle of the ocean. That's not the story. So anyway, this is what I'm going to take you down on, this journey that I'm going to take you on for the next few months. I hope that you are excited about this journey. I personally believe it's going to be the most informative way to teach at least my artistic process and overall the artistic process or the creative process. Developing a style or developing characters, developing a world. Like there's so much that goes into this that I'm learning and that I'm creating for myself. Like I've always been a really, really visual person. I've always been, a daydreamer. As a kid, I was always off in another world, creating worlds in my brain like most of us were. And so creating stories like this has always come pretty natural to me, but executing it on paper and organizing my thoughts and ideas and, the thumbnails and all the things for all the different scenes has been a unique process that I think is valuable to share. And anyways, I'm really excited to take you on this journey. I hope you stick around and watch. I would love to also read the comments on this video to see, what your thoughts are on the characters or the idea itself or what you would like to see as a part of this process of developing Clarence and this children's book endeavor that I am embarking on. Like I said, this is not going to be the forever YouTube format, but because I want to completely immerse myself in this world and still teach you guys, this was the happy medium for me. John and I are in a John, my husband, who is also my videographer for YouTube, or was my videographer for YouTube. John and I are in a very different season with our lives personally. He's currently building a business and we're homeschooling Miles at the time. And there's just a lot of things that we're juggling. We don't really have much childcare. And so having a time during the day, during the week where we can both be in the studio so that we can film YouTube videos is just not completely possible right now. And so I'm filming this on my iPhone. I have a nice studio microphone that is hopefully recording all of this audio for me. So we're going to be just trying that out and doing it in a way that I think is just more personal and more behind the scenes-y, and obviously with a lot of still bringing my teaching moments to all of this. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. If you want help with developing your style, check out The Art Within. You guys know all the things, like my supplies, all the things that I'll link in the descriptions of all of these videos, just like I do in every YouTube video that I've ever created. But I just wanted to also end on a note of gratitude and thanking you all for the continued support over the years. If you've been a longtime follower of mine or subscriber of mine on this YouTube channel, and you've gone through the many different pivots and phases that I've been in or doing whatever for the past 13 years of being a business owner, being an artist and a business owner. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for literally being the best community ever. Very, very positive. There are some meanies out there on the internet, and that's okay. Like, hurt people hurt people. But overall, this community of artists and whatnot is very, very supportive and encouraging, and just such a beautiful light of human beings. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being along for the ride. I hope you enjoy it just as much as I'm going to, because that's why I'm doing this, because I really enjoy it. And I want to center my life around enjoyment and things that I'm passionate about, because that's what's really going to make more of an impact when I'm really passionate about it. I know that I put more of my heart and soul into the work that I'm doing and, you know, all those things. So anyway, millennial heart symbol for you. I can't even do the other one. I've never done it. I'm not even, I guess I'm old. Anyway, besos to you all, and I'll see you next Saturday where we'll probably be doing some thumbnail sketches of different scenes. And yeah, I'll be taking you along the ride.